Appearances. The clothes you wear, the car you drive, the house or apartment you live in. Society tends to place a lot of importance on these areas, yet at the same time, I hear people say you shouldn't care what other people think of you. So which is it? Should we wear nice clothes, drive a nice car, and live in a nice place so that people think more highly of us? Or should we not care about what other people think of us? Well, I think there's a difference between caring about what other people think of you and caring about how other people perceive you. And in today's video, I'm going to go over the difference and why appearances actually do matter. So what does it mean to care about what other people think of you? One of my vivid memories from elementary school is from the 2nd grade. In my class, there were 2 kids, Shane and some other boy, I can't remember his name, which is actually pretty significant, but I'll get into that. Now, Shane was an interesting kid to say the least. I can remember every day he'd walk his bearded dragons to school on leashes. So that should give you a pretty good idea of the kind of kid Shane was. He was super smart, but didn't really have any friends. And even though most kids, if not all kids, get made fun of, in our class, he got the worst of it. Now, the other kid, whose name I can't remember, was the opposite. He was the troublemaker. He would wear these fake tattoo sleeves to school so that he could be just like his dad, talk back to the teacher.
Boys and girls, shut the up! Hey!
You know, one of those kids. So while Shane was the one being bullied, this other kid was the one doing most of the bullying. And here's where I come into the picture. I'd like to be able to say that I stood up for Shane, that I was a friend to him when he didn't really have many friends. I was always a big kid growing up, and so I'd like to say that I was able to protect him from the bullying. But that's not the case. Instead, in hopes of being seen as cool in the eyes of the bully, I began bullying Shane as well. The 2 of us would make fun of him, crack jokes, and it felt awful. And even to this day, I still feel bad about it. I think it's pretty significant that I can remember Shane's name, but not that other kid's name. But because I cared so deeply about what the bully thought of me, I started to do things that don't represent who I am as a person. Up until that point, I was the kid that was friends with everyone. But because I cared so much about what that bully thought of me, I started to become someone that I wasn't. And even at that age, in the 2nd grade, I knew this was wrong. I knew that I shouldn't be focused on what other people think of me, but instead, who I am as a person and the image I'm portraying. Being concerned with the image you portray is completely different than caring about what others think of you. When push comes to shove, we have very little to no control over what people actually think of us. An easy way to conceptualize this is to think of celebrities. It doesn't matter if a celebrity donates money to charity or adopts children from a 3rd world nation. It wouldn't even really matter if a celebrity cured cancer. There would still be haters. This is why celebrities have to decide not to care what other people think of them. I can remember that old bit on Jimmy Kimmel of celebrities reading mean tweets. This just goes to show that you can't control what other people think of you, only the image that you portray. So then what does it mean to care about the image that we're portraying? It's actually pretty simple. Our appearance should be a reflection of who we are. This is why appearance is so important. It's about what people see. It's not about what people think of what they see. Let me say that in a different way. Caring about the image you portray is about what people see. It has nothing to do with what people think. When people see you, they're going to come to all sorts of different conclusions about you. But if your image accurately represents who you are, that can help steer them in the right direction. But ultimately, again, you have little to no control over what they actually think of you. You can only control what they see. And by control what they see, I'm not talking about posting your highlight reels to social media, all the cool vacations and fancy dinners. That's not a representation of who you are. Most of the time, that is rooted in the desire to seek approval from others. That's rooted in caring about what other people think of you. That's not what I'm saying. Caring about the image you portray is being intentional with your image because you understand that it's a representation, it's a reflection of who you are. Take a look at second grade Ian. I was not a bully. I didn't enjoy bullying Shane, but that's the image I was portraying, and it wasn't an accurate reflection of who I am. Therefore, I was not being intentional with what people see. If I were being intentional, I would have stood up for Shane, been a friend to him. That would have been a more accurate representation of who I am. So that would have been me being intentional with the image I portray. Now, while we shouldn't care what other people think of us, it is important to care about what they see because that plays a huge role in our everyday lives. Think about it. Why do we get dressed up for interviews? Or for dates? Why do girls get their nails done or guys shave their beards? We do all of this because we understand that appearances do matter. It matters what people see when they look at us. You don't get dressed up for an interview so that the interviewer thinks, oh, this guy has style. No, you get dressed up because you want to appear professional. You wouldn't show up to an interview for a sales position wearing shorts and a t-shirt because that's unprofessional. That doesn't represent the kind of salesperson that you would be. But we're also not trying to put up a facade. We need to make sure that our actions align with our appearances. I gotta be careful saying this because nowadays it could get me canceled. But here's one example of when appearances and actions aren't aligned. I played baseball my whole life. I started playing travel ball at 9 years old, traveled all across the nation playing with different teams. But I remember on one team, when we get to practice, all of the moms would bring their kids and the moms would all be wearing athletic clothes, like they were going to work out. The irony was all of those moms were out of shape. And instead of taking the time during the practice to work out, maybe walk around the park, do something, they would sit on the bleachers and just talk. Their actions weren't aligning with their appearance. So there are two potential issues. Number one, your appearance does not reflect who you are. Or number two, your actions don't support that appearance. If you're a kind person at heart who's being a jerk, your appearance doesn't align with who you are. And on the flip side, if you act kind in front of people, but then go and bash them behind their backs, your actions aren't aligning with your appearance. Our appearance should be a reflection of who we are, and our actions need to support that appearance. If those moms were to actually work out during the practice, their actions would support their appearance. And then over time, as they begin to get healthier and more in shape, their appearance would more accurately reflect who they are. So what type of things should you focus on when it comes to your appearance? Well, because our appearance is a representation, a reflection of who we are as individuals, it may differ from person to person, but there are definitely things we can all strive for. For example, grooming and hygiene. Everyone should prioritize grooming and hygiene because that reflects someone who cares about their own well-being. Another area is fitness. You don't have to be some big jacked bodybuilder, but you should look like you care about your own health. At the end of the day, our bodies are the only thing that is exclusively ours. So through eating right and exercise, we really need to be taking care of ourselves. And that then will change your appearance, which will better reflect the kind of person you are. The way you dress is another area. Now, I'm not saying to dress head to toe in Gucci. It's not about the cost of the clothes. It's about the appearance, making sure that the clothes fit you well. At the end of the day, while we don't care what other people think of us, we should care about what they see. When you work for a company, You represent that company. So they want to make sure that you give off an appearance that accurately represents the company. It's no different when it comes to our own personal lives. The appearance that you give off should accurately represent the person that you are. So start being intentional with your appearance. And as always, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.